Hello and welcome to the Turn Zero podcast, hosted by Snapkeep. This is the show before the show where we talk about Magic the Gathering. This time, MagicCon Chicago 2025. Me, Jake, and Ryan all went, and Alex is going to hear all about it, maybe ask some questions along the way. So we're going to dive right into it, and we're going to talk about our experience, starting with Friday.
Yeah, day one of the con.
So we got there a little bit early. Not crazy early. No. We lined up at like 9:30.
Yeah.
There was these...
Frame of reference.
Yeah.
We did attend last year.
Yes, we all went last year.
There was a little bit of pre-knowledge as to how everything works. It wasn't just a shot in the dark.
It was also at the same venue as last year.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That's actually pretty interesting because like we could talk about like what went better from your experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Year over year. So we lined up, and that was one of the biggest changes, right?
Yeah.
So where all the play area was last year, it was a big old queue. First, you could pick up your badges, and then your badge packages, and then there was the morning queue.
Yeah, so last year we lined up in front of the metal detectors, right? And basically went straight to the show floor when it opened. This time we made it all the way basically right next to the show floor, and they let us out.
Yeah,
in order of arrival.
Yeah, where ticketed play was last year, that's where they lined you all up to go to the show floor.
And first, I think that's way better.
Yeah.
Was that downstairs?
No, upstairs.
Nope, upstairs.
That was next to the show floor.
Yeah. And they just left it empty the rest of the day, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
Yeah, so basically the way that it worked is that we lined up in 20-something short lines, and they let line 1 go to the show floor, line 2, and so on and so forth.
Like cattle.
So we were about line 17.
Yeah, line 17, day 1.
Even 30 minutes before. So that was kind of...
Top 20, baby.
It was kind of crazy.
It was.
Again, broke another record of the largest MagicCon to date. So
Yeah, they just keep busting it.
Yep. But then after that, right, we just went straight to the merch line.
Yet another loading screen of MagicCon Chicago.
Yeah. We were not alone in this one, I don't think.
Our longest loading screen.
Yeah,
Our longest loading screen. That merch line was 2.5 hours
Easily,
of waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have everything equipped. So we got all the way there. All three of us asked for the MagicCon specific Get Lost playmat. They're like, come back tomorrow. They're like, oh.
Yeah, they were a little short. We did meet a fellow Magic player.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
He was a very nice gent, and we talked the whole time. It made the line go by a little bit faster.
Did.
Yeah.
I talk to these blokes all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But James, I don't talk to.
Yeah.
And probably won't ever again. James, if you're out there.
Shout out to James.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a good start to kind of like bring this is what we're here for, the community. We can talk to anybody, and they love the same thing as us.
We always have something to talk about. For sure.
Know? Yeah, everyone has at least one thing in common.
Yeah.
Yeah, James gave me his backpack, and he's like, see, I'm rocking it pretty light this year. And it was like a cinder block, like a bag of bricks. And I said, not for me.
No.
So yeah, we did the merch line, and that was three-ish hours, just shy. And that kind of dictated the rest of our day, because we had a pretty active panel.
Yeah, we had a tight schedule.
Yeah, well, Friday, the first day, is always super busy for us because I swear that's when they put the best panels.
Yeah. Namely, the preview panel.
The preview panel.
Where they talked mostly about Tarkir Dragonstorm.
Yeah, Tarkir Dragonstorm, a little bit about Edge of Eternities, and then a little bit of what's coming up later in the year.
I have completely avoided spoilers over the weekend to learn about them here.
He was a trooper.
The hotness.
Yeah, because if that were me, I would not. I'd be watching the stream. I'd be like eyes glued to Twitter just to see all of the new previews.
No, I actually turned off like notifications on Twitter.
That's crazy.
Just like Twitter as a whole, so that X as a whole, so that I wouldn't get any pop-ups.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had the brilliant idea to get a very good seat early. So we got there early for the preview panel. We got up real nice and close, and we're like, we're holding these seats. We're burning a hole in these seats all the way to the end of the night, seeing game nights live, seeing the panel in between, which was Here Be Dragons. which we'll get to. But that was our idea going into it.
Yeah.
So we got there early, and we got to see some pretty cool cards. Namely, the first one that they spoiled, which is a new Mox.
Yeah, Mox Jasper.
Mox Jasper.
Mox Jasper. 0 mana artifact, taps for any color as long as you control a dragon.
Yeah.
Which is already insane.
Yeah.
What a start.
Absolutely insane.
That was their like kind of mic drop.
That is the what they said the chase card of the set. Like that's going to be the serialized card.
The marquee card is what they called it?
Yeah, marquee
think.
card.
Yeah,
Their
the
headliner,
marquee cards
yeah.
they started that with
Aether
Innistrad Remastered.
Yeah.
Innistrad.
With Edgar Markov was the marquee card.
And Aether Spark was the marquee card for
Yeah,
Aether
so they
Drift.
did a whole bunch of extra print styles, more than any of the other cards in the set.
Yeah,
The-
namely a serialized version.
Dan
which
Fraser art.
has Dan
Fraser
Fraser
art. The
Which is
Mox,
kinda
the
crazy.
original Mox artist. So
and it looks pretty sick.
does.
It is a slight bummer because it seems to be only the serialized version.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they also previewed the new frame.
These other arts are pretty
Very
fucking sick.
reminiscent
Yeah.
of what I would say the Fang frame.
Fanged frame. Yeah.
But the dragon version.
Yeah. The dragon. version.
Which is honestly pretty dope. Seeing it in the different colors between like the artifacts and then the red
Yeah.
cards that they showed was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They also did there was the Fang frame, and then there was one for like werewolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Coven frame, I think, is
Yeah.
what they called it,
Yeah.
or something like that. But
Yeah.
they had at the preview panel they had Justine Jones on, who designed this frame, and she was like over the moon for being able to design something like this, and it looks fantastic.
She's a wonderkin for Wizards of the Coast. She's
Yeah,
doing
she
D&D, Magic, designing the frame. Like
they're-
her booth was the longest in Artist Alley every day.
Yep.
Yeah, she's got some cool stuff.
If you proxy a whole dragon deck with these frames, that would look insane.
Oh yeah. Well, they're gonna look insane on all the dragons in Dragon's Room too, because boy howdy will there be some dragons.
The 5 new spirit dragons.
Yeah, so the next thing they talked about were, well, we're going to Tarkir, so obviously got to have new dragons, right? And they, obviously, we were going to have 5, right? There are 5 clans, we know that there are going to be 5 dragons. But in the preview panel, they spoiled that not only are there going to be the 5 in the main set, but 5 in the commander decks.
Yeah, of the same characters, just different mechanic cards.
So, you know, we're going to get 10 cards for these new spirit dragons, which is 10 new 3-color commanders, which is just insane.
Yeah,
and we don't get those very often.
And they said they were going to be interchangeable with the commander deck face. Like, they're going to have 2 face cards for the commander decks.
Yeah, so they said that at the panel, and I'm not really sure what they mean by it, because precons have always had backup commanders.
Yeah.
But they said that these precons have 2 commanders that you can choose from,
Yeah.
which...
I wonder if that's like either a marketing gimmick or if there is
Yeah.
like an actual something different that they're doing.
Well, it could be that they're like, we know that precons have always had 2 commanders, but like now maybe they're just kind of advertising it more.
Sometimes the backup commander drops a color in other precons.
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
Yeah.
But
I think they print at least one that's always has all the
Yeah.
same colors, but I think the difference may be that it could be very loosely related to the strategy.
yeah, it can be mechanically a little
Yeah.
dissonant.
It's pretty different. Like one that comes to mind, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Nelly Borka has Feather, a new Feather card.
For
yeah.
for my
That was
example
my first
is
one taken out.
Warhammer 40k, Abaddon and Be'lakor are in the
Yes.
same deck.
Yeah, and they don't really...
Very different.
Abaddon
But-
cares about Cascade, Be'lakor cares about demons.
So presumably these would be very synergistic with the.
Yeah, like they probably have at least a through line for keywords or through line for effects.
Yeah.
And well, they could be talking about the 2 dragons of the same name being interchangeable.
No, that was not the impression, because the commander decks are led by, I think, they're
clan
not
leader.
all human. Yeah, the clan leader.
The clan leader, and they on the art of the commander deck, they have their representative spirit dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can either run the Spirit Dragon or the Clan Leader, is
Yeah.
what
Yes.
they implied, yeah.
But
So yeah, the preview panel was pretty cool. I
was
think
amazing.
if
It was,
you
yeah.
go to a MagicCon, like it's a must-see event. Like more
Yeah.
than their big
Correct.
headliners, more than Game Nights Live. I think like this is the one to go.
You got to go to the because
Correct.
like the energy, the legitimate oohs and ahs when they show artwork and cards, and the gasps when they showed the new Mox. It's crazy.
It was sick
Speaking.
last year.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very cool to be in the room. And then speaking of gasps, Alex, if you were to think of one Abzan card, what would you think of?
I play a Kolfinor deck.
Okay, maybe not. So one of the
But the card that's in all of the welcome party packs. What are they
Yes.
called?
Yeah, that welcome pack.
Is Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino.
So they are printing a new Siege Rhino called Skirmish Rhino that is cheaper. It's white, black, green, creature Rhino, 3/4, trample. When this creature enters, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life.
Commander Siege Rhino.
So baby
It's
Rhino.
it's Siege Rhino
For 1 mana
minus
less.
1, so it's -1 to the casting cost, -1 to the toughness.
And -1 keyword, right?
No, -1 to the drain.
They also spoiled a new Sarkon, though. So Sarkon will be back.
Yes, he is Sarkon Dragon Ascendant, 1 in a red, a legendary creature human druid, 2/2. When Sarkon enters, you may behold a dragon. If you do, create a treasure token. To behold a dragon, choose a dragon you control or reveal a dragon from your hand. And then he also has the line of text where it says, whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarkon. Until end of turn, Sarkon becomes a dragon in addition to its other types and gains flying. So classic Sarkon.
Yeah.
Bear with a whole lot of upside.
And yeah, he does have Behold, which is a new, Mark Rosewater said, a new evergreen mechanic. To behold something is to have it on the field or reveal it from your hand. So I don't think that this is exclusive to dragons, but it is something that dragons have kind of had before.
Behold a frog, behold an
Yeah.
octopus,
I think
leviathan,
it'll
rat.
be deciduous.
Yeah,
so
deciduous,
Not
there
every,
you go.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it's
It's
like
it's
Scry.
it's
Yeah,
coming
it's something
back,
that you can
but
pull from.
it's definitely going to be recycled.
Card in Standard that has similar text of becoming a dragon. I think it has not Constellation. Like when multiple things enter the battlefield under your control this turn.
Oh, it's
it
Festival, right? Or the...
Yeah, the word
That one.
reminds me of Festival, and I can't think of what the word
It's not
is.
Party, but I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, there's a mono red guy that if you have 3 creatures enter or 2 creatures enter, he
It's-
becomes a dragon.
I think it's 2 permanents.
Oh, it's probably permanent.
He becomes a 4/4 flyer that has fire breathing, but for all your dragons.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, so I think Behold is pretty cool.
I agree.
Yeah,
I-
it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that they kind of put a name to it and also included like on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like in a Kindred type deck, it's going to be pretty easy to pop off, or you
Yeah.
could behold an artifact. There's a lot of
Yeah.
space where you can expand that. Behold
Just
a
hold
historic
these.
spell.
Behold a planeswalker.
I think one of the places we're going to see it pretty soon is on a land. Instead of
Yeah.
the snarls, you'll have Behold a plains or a mountain.
If you
Behold a
control
goblin.
one,
Yeah.
If you control one or reveal one from your
We'll
hand.
be seeing some of that soon.
Semi-related, but not fully off topic. Was Sarkon a planeswalker before?
Yes.
He was, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So
So,
and he's
sparked.
seen here sparkless.
Yes.
yes, he
Which
is a creature.
Lore-wise, interesting as much as Wizards hates Magic Vorthos.
I think he's happy. He's on the plane of dragons, and there are dragons again. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarkon's living his best life.
He's
I
living
think.
his best
Yeah.
dragon life.
Yeah,
Bro didn't want to go to another plane anyway.
exactly.
And it's always interesting when they do the preview panel to hear from like the lead artists and the lead like set designer to say like, yeah, look at the art before you see the card and you see how like cool it is and like the inspirations we took.
Yeah.
And they talked about that in depth in the next panel, Here Be Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we jump too far away from
What is
Behold, I
this?
want to mention the fact that, like, listening to Mark Rosewater's podcast, he talks a lot about, like, making sure that anytime they keyword something or that they, add an ability that it's, like, very evocative.
Yeah.
And I think they achieved that here pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, beholding a
Behold the
dragon, like, when I read the first line, Behold, before I read, like, what it actually was and what it actually did, I instantly was like, oh,
Reveal.
Behold, a dragon.
Yeah.
like it's like flying. It's something that's very evocative and very logical, which I feel like at this stage in the game can kind of be hard to do at times.
Yeah,
so
I
agree.
I'm very excited to see it being.
There's only 30,000 cards.
Yeah.
There's lots of.
I can't wait for the
sure.
Behold the Beholder.
And there's
That's gonna be great.
what? 180 card mechanics now?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, probably close. Probably more.
I looked it up. a couple weeks ago in preparation for a future MTG Jeopardy video.
So tune in.
Timetable eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple other previews, like, there's a new Siege and how they're kind of approaching that.
Oh yeah,
in
they're
this
bringing
version.
back sieges.
Yeah, so there's Baron
Like the
Step,
battles?
No, like
The
Cons or Dragons.
Outpost Siege.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That type of thing.
So there's Baron Step Siege, 2 white-black enchantment. As this enchantment enters, choose Abzan or Mardu. Abzan, at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, or Mardu, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice.
Yeah.
When they revealed it, they kind of like flubbed that line, and they said like of your choice as if you were
As
the
like,
controller.
you get to decide what they
I
sacrifice.
thought that was gonna be some spicy tag.
Yeah, that would have been nuts.
But then everyone like actually read the
You
card,
sacrificed that.
yeah.
which would have been pretty cool. It's cool to see that this is how they're doing it, because obviously Orzhov is what's shared between Abzan and Mardu.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like without doing Cons and Dragons. That was pretty clever.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And Mark's color pie talk on the removal spell.
The new Mardu removal
Yeah.
spell? Oh, yeah. Oh, we got to talk about that one, too.
Yeah, so that's Inevitable Defeat. 1 in Mardu, so red, white, black. It's an instant that cannot be countered. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life.
I just think
Kind of an
the
insane
naming
card.
is hilarious.
And
We just had Unstoppable Plan, and now we get Inevitable Defeat.
Yeah.
That is a funny time.
yeah.
yeah,
No, but this gold card is got some insane text on it.
yeah, it's crazy. Lightning Helix is stapled to an Anguished Unmaking.
Yeah. Like, this is same power level as... it reminds me a lot of Void Rend,
Yeah,
the Esper one that can't be
Yeah.
countered. And this is a very Mardu spin on that.
Yeah, 4 mana is very expensive for a removal spell.
Sure is.
So it better not be able to be countered if I'm spending that much money on
Yeah.
it.
Hey, but what
yeah,
about your
mana.
Sublime Epiphanies?
Yeah.
I mean...
It almost matches the format as far as spells go.
No, I think the real place that
Mana
this is going to
costs
shine is
1
if you
for
have... If you can slot this into your commander deck specifically, this is going to get through Ward. Can't be countered means
Yeah.
you don't have to pay the Ward cost. So for commander, very relevant.
gets the reward, procs your life gain.
Correct.
So
But a pretty powerful card.
We don't see a ton of Ward in our playgroup. Did you guys see some of it over the...
Not really. James talked a lot about his Voja deck.
Voja does have
Yes.
Ward, yeah.
So, there are a lot of pretty popular commanders. I know.
And we did play
have
against...
Rafine.
We played against Adrix and Nev. They do have Ward.
Oh, Ward? Yeah.
It did not end up
honestly
mattering,
forgot
but they
they
did
had
have
Ward.
it.
yeah, did not matter, but they do have Ward.
They are slowing down on
Yeah.
Ward.
I think
but it was pretty hot for a while.
They
Yeah.
talked about how they thought it was kind of a mistake with how they went a little overboard with it.
Yeah,
And
I
I guess
agree.
we have 9 fingies.
And then
Yeah.
Pay 9 life. Previews were really cool. There's a lot more. They previewed a new Narset. They previewed a couple dragons.
The new Zergo.
the Jeskai Spirit Dragon,
Yeah.
Zergo. Narset leaked, so they gave it to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah.
And there's even a cheeky little mention to Alesha with a card called Smile at Death. It's an enchantment.
It reanimates dorky creatures.
Yeah, but
Just like
beyond
Alexa.
that, it was what? Oh, God. Edge of Eternities?
Edge of Eternities.
Which we didn't get any cards for.
No,
I
but
don't
we got,
think.
we got a
Just
bunch of art.
Yeah, just art and the Vorthos behind it, basically.
And
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
the art.
It's Edge of Eternity.
So Edge of Eternities is magic in space. It is not
Yeah. Oh,
like
fuck yeah.
magic with space themes. It's space with magic themes.
Yeah, Mark Rosewater
Yes.
Rosewater was really keen to preface it with
like
like
that.
this is a original
Yeah.
design.
Yeah.
It is it is a universe that they have crafted here and
Correct.
dissuaging the loot with a space helmet, you know what I mean?
That's really
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
because I remember when we first heard about that set, a lot of people being very concerned that it was just magic in space.
Yeah, like Ryan said, like he specifically called that out. He said like people are saying that the past few sets have been shallow in terms of like
that was
the
his
lore.
wording. Yeah.
And this one we're really taking the time to go deep. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Wizards does care about Magic Vorthos.
Yeah,
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Check out Edge of Eternities.
Yeah, the Edge of Eternities. Just look at the art. It is
look at the
amazing.
art.
The composition, the colors,
They're coming up with new races, like they mentioned. There will be new alien races.
And they'll be aligned to different colors.
Yeah.
There was a
dash.
species that was specifically for like
waiting for
white.
the 400.
yeah, mono white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which seems so
Relay.
free.
Yeah.
Can't wait for them to come out with the cross country.
Yeah, they said that black holes were a big motif with a black hole sustaining life
Yeah.
within it.
Interesting.
So it's got a little bit of whimsy to it, or a little bit of the fantasy aspect.
It was kind of like Amma and Ket, an Hour of Devastation. They were saying that like, oh, you might have noticed in a bunch of the artworks that there's this like black hole.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Bolas.
Yeah, the Bolas horns. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I hadn't
I was
noticed.
like, I didn't, but I'm glad you pointed that out.
yeah.
And they also mentioned that they saw how much we loved in Unfinity that the shock lands were like big planets. So they're making a lot of planet-based lands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
Those
here for
were
that.
gorgeous.
They were pretty.
Oh, and
Yeah.
if you thought those were gorgeous, you should check out the art gallery if you can find it, because they
Yeah.
previewed what I think is a cycle of monocolored legendary lands. I only say that because the names had commas in them.
Yeah.
And they were proper nouns. But they are just gorgeous, just drop dead gorgeous pieces
Yeah.
of art. And that being said, I'm still most excited for who I think will be the villain of that set. They revealed that Tezzeret will be back.
Tezzeret will be there. Yeah.
And I'm real excited for Tezzeret in space.
What is it? Like
That's-
Ruthless Captain
Yeah.
was the tagline on the art.
He's freed of his Ethereum
Space
body.
Pirates, space pirates.
He's indestructible now. It's gonna be
He
good.
still has
Give
the
me
planar
more
bridge in his
pirates.
arm.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be so much fun.
They also revealed their like Star Destroyer analog.
Yeah.
And they made specific mention that they're like, oh, this isn't going to be some like dinky thing. Like it's going to
Yeah.
be like an impending force.
Yeah,
like,
they-
we're going to have these big ships.
They
like,
pointed out the scale. They're like, look at that thing for scale. Don't you notice how big this is? And it's interesting.
I wonder what
I
that
think
means.
did they use
Oh,
the
well-
word impending?
I don't know if they did it
Because
specifically.
imposing.
No,
They
no,
did, that
no.
is a mechanic now.
I think
And that would be sick for
I think they wanted to make things imposing, is I think what they said.
Ah.
Because like there are creatures there that like there was a big squid thing that was eating a planet that is like massive, and
Yeah.
they also showed
gonna be
a
a
space
4/4.
whale. I made that same joke.
Reservoir Kraken, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, they reveal a space whale, and then they're like, yeah, we just want to have really big stuff in space.
But then they have like the little, like you saw, like the normal trooper, like
Yeah, they got,
their,
like-
mono white analogs, and like the Viashino in his little space suit.
Yeah.
Which I think is like one of the top arts revealed.
They're lizards now.
Yeah, they are.
They said Viashino on
Oh.
the
That's
No, he was a
it's like-
Kavu.
Kavu.
He was
yeah.
Kavu.
Yeah.
bro. We can't have Viashinos, but they can have Kavus. This is shit.
True.
So that was the preview panel mostly, other than the final reveal that you should all probably know by now,
Even I know it.
that the Universes Beyond final set, surprising nobody who heard the arena rumors, was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Which is hilarious because when we heard about SpongeBob, I initially said, "Oh, next is Avatar."
Yep.
And it was.
Yeah,
Sure was.
So the real question there is two things on my mind, which is, one, are they doing also Korra?
Oh.
Please.
Semi-related to that.
Yeah.
The internet hates Korra right
Yeah.
now.
Really?
Haven't they always?
I was like, is this news?
So, spoilers for the Avatar universe. They're coming out with a new Avatar show, and apparently there's going to be an Earth Avatar, and the previous Avatar left the world to shit. And
She made a
so,
choice.
Kind of collectively as a group, the internet is like, hey, we all knew Korra sucked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
well, I like Korra, and that's a different podcast that we will start next week. So check out our Legend of Korra podcast.
leave
But
me
anyway,
out
so
of that
Avatar:
one.
The Last Airbender is coming out. Now, the second question I have on my mind is, will the Universes Beyond fatigue suffer greatly from... What is it? Is it the slew of Final Fantasy II, Spider-Man to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
With SpongeBob mixed in.
Well, I think
yeah, I mean it's a secret layer.
isn't
so-
it Final
but, like,
Fantasy, then Edge of Eternities, then Atla?
Okay, well that's better, but like double back to back.
I think so.
Is still
Yeah,
still
no,
tough.
it's brutal.
That's
I
like
think the fact that it's full sets
yeah.
is different. Because, like, Lord of the Rings got a full set.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of overlap in the Lord of the Rings world with the Magic world. There are wizards, there are elves, there are dwarves. Like, these things already exist in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Firebender's not a creature type, big dog.
Not yet.
True.
Like,
True.
How many humans are going to be in this set, boy?
Oh,
Yeah.
all of them, bro. But yeah,
but if we get an Appa card,
Can't wait for Momo, dude.
honestly, Momo Commander deck win.
Is this creature type going to be monkey?
Something like that. But
we already have lion turtles are what exist in the Atla universe. I was like, we already have a
Yeah.
dragon turtle card.
we'll get a lion turtle somewhere.
And you're going
But-
to see endless waves of people speculating on what the cards are going to do. So
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very exciting stuff. Then we, holding our seats to get the best seats at Game Nights Live, we actually moved into third row?
Yep, third
center
row.
stage. We
It
were
was great.
cooking.
Yeah.
And we stayed for Here Be Dragons, which was actually a surprisingly really enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let Jake
yeah.
speak to it because I think you're the one that's most hyped.
Dragon
Sure.
guy.
Yeah, it says. So, Here Be Dragons was a panel hosted by Brian Kibler.
Yes, sir.
And the Vice President of Dungeons and Dragons, in addition to Justine Jones and
Madam President.
two, I want to say, art directors from the Magic
It
side
was
of it.
a lead director or like assistant director and the lead art director.
Yeah. So Brian Kibler loves his dragons. And the panel started with them talking about the history of dragons in D&D, which is a lot more varied than I thought. I kind of thought
Yeah.
that D&D dragons were pretty consistent throughout, but they showed that they weren't.
They got some chunky doughboy dragons.
Yeah,
let me
they
tell
sure
ya.
did in first and second edition. Oh my. But it was really great to hear her talk about it because her enthusiasm for dragons was kind of infectious.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
super hyped for them, and might not get the Magic side of it, but from the D&D side, she was all in.
Yeah.
And they talked a lot about the new monster manual and the way that dragons are changing there.
Yeah.
So that was super exciting. But for the Magic side of it, they went through 7, 8 different cycles of dragons, from the original Elders all the way up to...
Spirit dragon.
Well, they mentioned the Tarkir dragons,
Yeah.
but I think the most recent ones were the Strixhaven ones, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But, so they talked about
They
that.
might be the spirit dragons after them.
Yeah, maybe. The ones from Kamigawa.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Junji
But-
and the like.
They talked about Magic dragons a lot because those are very disparate. They're different on every plane.
Yeah.
But it was,
And to be fair, it's MagicCon.
exactly. But hearing them talk about everything was just phenomenal. But
Yeah.
honestly, the best thing was
Yeah.
the spoiler card.
Yeah,
get
they
into
did
that?
spoil
Yeah.
a card,
I'm
which
so excited.
is
Yeah.
Bro, I could recite it from memory.
Stormscale Scion, 4 red, creature dragon 4/4, flying. Other dragons you control get +1/+1, and it also has a line of text which is
Storm. It's a permanent with Storm, guys.
Just storm.
standard legal storm.
Standard
Yeah.
legal storm card.
We all knew dragons needed more help, right?
They needed a lord with
Underrated
Storm.
creature type.
Oh yeah.
And
Rat Lord Storm when? Give my boy Ryan some love. Rat Lord Storm when?
I'm never getting it.
Yeah.
The
so
Lord or the Storm.
so the
jab
Stormscale
at,
Scion.
The jab at Marrow. as
yeah,
well.
is named to jab at Mark Rosewater's Stormscale, which I think is really funny.
Yeah.
But it is also part of this new brood of wild dragons, which is super cool, and I think a super good place for this unique mechanic to kind
Yeah.
of sit. I really hope they don't overdo the Storm thing though, because
Yeah.
this being standard legal is one thing, it being a commander card would be something different, but from the preview panel, that one in particular, I'm pretty sure Dragonstorm is also going to be in standard. So that's 2 Storm cards already,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
is pushing it. But this
Yeah.
card seems dope. I'm super excited to jam it.
The art is sick.
Yeah, the art.
Even
You should
just
look at the alt art.
regular art. I think I prefer the regular art.
Yeah.
He's zooming. I like that one more, to be honest. But
Yeah, it's very cool, and something that's worth like mentioning is that we did get to see Mark Rosewater's panel 2 days later, which we'll get to, and someone asked about it.
Yeah.
And he specifically said, like, you know, he had a laugh about the Stormscale jab, but then he also said that it's easier to bring back something like this when it's like a one-off or a two-off.
Yeah, you can have a
So
little
that
treat.
basically confirmed that, like, you know.
He was giving us a little treat.
Yeah.
He was like, you can have, you know, a little bar chocolate every now and again. You know?
He spoiled us. He spoiled us.
Yeah.
So we can be pretty rest assured that this isn't going to be a primary like set mechanic.
yeah, and like we talked about it, and it's a 6-mana dragon that you have to cast spells before. So the storm part of it is really like, how many of these are you actually going to get?
There's going to be someone jamming it until it rotates. But
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean. So
It also probably finds its way into like a Stella Lee deck.
It could,
Something of that,
as an
like-
aggro finisher.
Yeah.
But that's a cool card. I'm super stoked for it, and the panel was
amazing.
also dope.
Because there's a few Stella Lee cards that make 4/4 dragons with prowess, right?
There's at least one, yeah, and that one has Storm as well. That one's a little bit better because it's a sorcery that you can copy.
Yeah.
You couldn't copy the Stormscale Scion, but, you know, if there's like a little
Yeah.
sub-dragon
The
thing.
Scion at some point could buff up those,
Yeah.
those bad boys. Or
cool.
vice versa.
Yeah, you could fit it in if you want to do a little dragon sub-theme.
as a dragon hater, dragons are kind of cool.
I think what I liked most about the dragon panel was all the wild dragons. They showed a lot of their concept arts, things like a snake dragon,
a bee dragon,
bee dragon,
a
shark
shark dragon,
That's sick. Yeah.
whale
they're
dragon.
sick,
It was just like concept art, but it was really cool to see. Like when you imagine like a hornet dragon, you're like, what part is hornet, what part is dragon, and they showed it, and it was like, wow, that's interesting.
This is a gallery I need to look up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what part would be hornet and what part would be dragon.
Yeah, you
I
definitely have
can
to look
picture a
up.
whale dragon.
Definitely look up the panel then, because finding that key art might be difficult. I don't know how many of those are going to make it to the set, but
Yeah. Or
I'd
you
be-
could watch this video that we're speaking in right now because it's on screen.
And I will rewatch this video so that I can see it.
Yeah, but very, very hype. Ugin also made an appearance at the panel,
Yep.
which was pretty dope. He was talking to Kibbs the whole time.
The whole
Yep.
time, and then Ugin will be reappearing in the set as well.
Yeah.
yep, gotta be.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the new spirit frame with the Halo
yeah.
foil.
It was
Yeah.
just on Sarkon, no?
Sarkon and the Skirmish Rhino.
Oh,
Were the two that they
okay,
did.
cool.
Yeah, so I think
was
it'll just be an
wondering what those
alternate
were.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, based off of Ugin's.
It's very like Ghostfire blue.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a frame that they mentioned they made
It
just
looks
for
sick.
an Ugin card, and they're now bringing it to Tarkir. It's
Yeah,
just a
it was
Tarkir
like-
frame that's available.
Yeah, it was for a core set for like Ugin specific
Yeah.
cards.
which was dope.
And
Tweaked it a little bit,
and
updated it.
Sarkon and Ugin are homeboys. So
Yeah.
They're bros.
they're bros.
Then, after this panel,
Oh boy.
we
The main event.
we waited for Game Nights Live.
Yeah, and the travesty that befell our heroes.
So yeah, you could probably guess that we didn't get to keep our seats.
We did
'cause
not get to keep our seats.
The seats that we were in were actually Black Lotus VIP. They get the front like
Oh,
20
no.
rows.
They get dibs.
yeah, they get
Yeah.
dibs.
It's all gone downhill.
Yeah.
It gets
and it
worse.
didn't matter for the other panelists because they weren't like crazy. And by the way, while we were sitting in the Here Be Dragons panel, like when we started, sorry to say, but there was like 20 people there. But
Yeah.
by the end of the panel, it
Oh,
filled
it
in
was
quite
full.
A bit.
It was
yeah.
a near
So-
capacity theater.
That happened last year too with like
Yeah.
we had pretty fine seats before game nights, and then like as we were sitting in the panel before, everybody filled in kind of like game nights is soon, I should go get my seats.
Yeah. That was
Which
definitely
was
the same vibe.
I felt so bad for last year because it was the preview panel, then the Fallout preview panel that was already spoiled like a week or two prior.
Yeah,
we
So
knew
everyone had already
darn
seen
near
the card.
every single card.
So you were just sitting there watching them talk about the art direction, and granted, I like Fallout, but not that much. And I'm just like,
It wasn't even really the art direction as much as they were like, "Hey, check out this card," and everyone's
they
like,
they
"Yeah."
went through
every
I think
card.
every card from every commander deck for it.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
was
just like sick.
literally
That's another Fallout reference.
Yep.
zero shade on those people, but I just felt bad for them
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
they were backstage listening to people react to the new previews, and they're like, "Isn't this cool?"
It's like,
We're like,
isn't this preview that you already saw at home a week before coming here kind of cool?
You guys like rad roaches? So do we.
I do.
Death claws.
How do you guys feel about bobbleheads?
Yeah.
So I think they learned, and that's why the Here Be Dragons had its very own preview.
Which was
and
very cool.
It was. Yeah.
So we did get kicked out. We got kicked back to the back rows, and those had already filled in too.
Yeah.
So we were in rough shape, looking for a seat, and then we spotted a box.
Yeah, we got into the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
For reference, we might not have mentioned this, but this year the main stage was in a theater.
Yeah.
So last year the main stage was kind of a corner of the show floor.
Yeah.
This year they used the theater that is built into McCormick Place. So
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, there was actual
It's
theater
probably 'cause it
seating,
was
a
huge last
balcony,
year.
boxes, very different from last
And
year.
I think
anyways.
it was also like there was a lot of kind of intermittent noise between gameplay or
there
whatever
was.
is going on and
Yeah.
the main stage.
Definitely
and this
solved
way
that
they're-
problem.
Definitely
They're
did.
separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. So we got up into our nosebleeds, and Game Nights Live happened, and it was pretty cool.
It started.
Yeah, they were very heavily themed around the Aether Drift set, of course. They had racing suits. There was a lot of racing motifs, different commercials and stuff, which was pretty cute.
Definitely the
was a lot of
production
fun.
level you expect from
Who are
a
our
game night.
combatants?
Yes. So first of all, it was hosted by, our commentators were Gavin Verhey and Becca Scott.
Oh, instead of Olivia.
yeah.
Because
Right,
last year it was Gavin and Olivia, right?
Believe so.
correct.
Yeah.
And then our combatants were Rachel Weeks, JLK, Jimmy Wong, and Allie Beardsley. Do you know Allie?
Vaguely.
They
I recognize the name. They do D&D with
Dimension
Dimension 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
With
was
Brendan Got it.
trying to think
Yeah.
of the site that it comes from,
Dropout.
Dropout.
Yep.
And I was like, I can picture it, just not the word with it.
Yeah.
It's coming to me.
Yeah. I was like, I know that name from something. And then I immediately thought of the like sound game that they play.
Make some noise.
Make some noise.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's where I know that name from. And then it was like, now what's that from?
Yeah.
Yes, so they are like D&D tie-in, and
Yeah.
they did a really good job. They really played up the crowd. They were so
feel like
nervous.
That's a very Alley thing to do. I
Agreed.
feel like that's something they would
Yeah.
be very, very good at.
Definitely went to the crowd the most.
And
Yeah.
there was this moment in the game, you should definitely watch it, obviously, but there was this moment in the game, spoilers,
Yeah. Yeah.
if that wasn't clear. Skip ahead to the next timestamp if you don't want to listen. There was this moment in the
That's
game
good,
where
'cause I
it
was
seemed
gonna
like
ask
it was
you
going to
one.
end. It was
Yeah.
it was like early
yeah.
turns.
Almost dead to rights.
And Jimmy is casting this Azuri's Predation. He's basically gonna like drain the whole board.
Azuri's Predation with Impact Tremor effect. Yeah.
Right.
It was
Ooh, love
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And-
Gotta add that bad boy into Xeris.
You could see
New tech.
the proverbial sweat
Yeah.
on JLK's.
yeah.
He was like, is this actually gonna end? Is this
Yeah.
happening?
It's only been
Game Night's Live
an
gonna
hour
end
and a
15 minutes
half.
in.
Yeah.
And he finally, like, he looks through all of his cards. He does everything he can, passes priority, and Allie just saves the whole game.
Yeah.
And stops it from happening. And like I said, spoilers, they go on to win the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
which
feels
was pretty
very
dope.
on character from watching. I have seen one Dimension 20 campaign.
Sure.
And it feels so on character. They're just like,
Yeah.
damn, it really sucks that this is about to happen. Can you do something? No. You do something? No. Well, it's a good thing I can.
Yeah.
Get fucked, nerds.
Yeah.
Same vibes. It was very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And that was fun. It
was a good show.
I will say, if you haven't seen Game Nights Live and you do go see it, definitely try to be in the crowd.
Yeah.
Being
It's-
like
it's
up high
it's a
in the
different
box
vibe.
is
Yeah.
it's a different vibe. Like I remember screaming my head off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though I was still cheering, still playing along this year, it's just being in the crowd is a different vibe. And you might get free stuff.
Yeah, to
which-
feel the energy of
We did
everyone
not.
around you.
Is Brendan Lee Mulligan our channel nemesis? Because
I
we're
don't-
Snapkeep.
I don't
and he
think
has
I wanna-
Mulligan in his name.
I don't think I want to start that beef. We're gonna lose.
No, I love him too much.
Brendan, we
Yeah.
appreciate you. You're wonderful, but
are.
just like, let's do it for the content.
But
Like,
never
start a beef with us, Brendan. Dude, just for the content. Like, you could definitely use our viewership.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's our new
Brendan needs
channel
us.
For
thing,
sure.
being as reactionary and toxic as possible to everyone we can.
Yeah.
No, we showed Allie love. This is specifically between us and Brendan.
This is
my
Brendan.
God.
Okay, so that was Friday,
That was day
That
one.
was day one.
and we had a little kerfuffle.
Oh
trying to get out
yeah,
of the parking
getting
garage.
out.
Oh man, I was hoping you were gonna bring this up.
We're just walking out of the parking lot. We pay for our parking ticket on the way out because there's no cashier at the exit gate.
Yep.
We Jake and Al together go to the machine. They both pay like law-abiding citizens.
Yep.
Jake takes the ticket, puts it in his pocket. We go to our car. We get in. We sit down. We're in line at the booth to get out. Jake's like, "Where's the ticket?"
We're at the gate.
You're literally at the
There's
gate.
cars behind us.
There's cars
Yeah.
behind us. We're at the gate, and Jake's like, "Where's the ticket?" I'm like, "Ha ha ha." He's like, "No, seriously, where's
no,
the
dead
ticket?"
ass though. Yeah.
No, where's the ticket?
Yeah.
And we're flipping over the seats. We're checking everything. Jake empties his pockets. He dusts, gets his jacket out, and we're like,
Other lane, 3 cars are going through. There's guys behind, cars behind us.
and we don't have this ticket.
Nope, it's gone.
And then a hero emerges.
Oh
A
my God.
hero
What a
comes
guy.
And then
through.
a hero emerges.
So we flag down the parking employee.
And
And we're like, hey, we paid. We promised.
We promised
We're
we
trying
paid,
to play.
bro.
And he's obviously, he's not brand new. He's thinking we're scamming the guy.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I knew this was gonna happen. So I got the payment ready on my bank app, and I'm like, here we go. And he hits the little talk box on the thing, which I didn't know existed.
Me neither.
And he talks to his supervisor. He's like, hey, these guys say that they paid, but they don't. And then she cuts him off. She
He's
says,
like, "Where's the ticket?"
do they have a ticket? They just
Or a
have
receipt.
And we're cooked.
yeah.
Clearly. And they're like, do they have a ticket? And he doesn't say, oh, no, they don't have it. They're like, yeah. He said, yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, they got a ticket."
And he takes a ticket out from someone else, reads off the numbers.
And she's like, "Yeah, what are the numbers?" And he's like, "Yeah, 49 whatever." And she's like, "Cool."
Gate open.
Gate
We're out.
opens, we're out.
So he's a legend.
Yeah.
0% chance he's ever going to see this, but you're the GOAT.
For
And
sure.
Yeah.
Don't say his name. Don't dox him.
We don't know his name. We didn't
No,
ask.
it was,
Yeah.
it was a
No,
masked
okay.
stranger
Yeah.
that helped
Hero.
us.
I would like to point out my whole weekend did not have this issue. It's a strange day when I'm the responsible one. I parked plenty of place, did not have this problem at all. But here we are.
From
Hey.
the 15-minute walk from the time we left that
Not
kiosk,
even 15 minutes, like,
five.
5.
from the kiosk to the car, the ticket evaporated.
Gone.
It's just gone.
It will show up in Jake's washing machine within the next week.
If it does, I don't know how it got there. It wasn't in my pockets. Anyways.
Hey, look, we are 45 minutes in, and we're only on day 1.
Jeez.
So let's hit day 2. Day 2, we learned from our mistake, and we had some
did.
playmats to get.
Yeah, we
did.
did. We
If
had-
you
we needed the
remember,
playmats.
they did not have the playmats that we wanted. So
like
we
that one?
got there.
Yeah.
No, this is the
different
event
Oh,
map. We got there super early.
Yes.
Venue opens at 8:30. Show floor opens at 10. We're there at 8:30.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're in line. We get lined 3.
We get line
We're
three.
cooking.
We're an hour early. We wait an hour in this line.
Oh yeah, and we wait an hour and a half really.
Yeah.
And we beeline it straight for the merch line. It was like a snaking corral.
It was great to move through it. It felt like it didn't take that long.
Yeah, we were zooming.
yeah.
And even the line ahead of us this day, I think it was a lot of people buying the playmat or like
Yeah.
just needed to pick
You
up
knew
more things.
already what they wanted.
Oh, not only that, but when we got in line, they announced that the secret layer from the day before had sold out.
Yeah,
and that
for sure.
culled the line by half at least.
Yeah. They were like, secret layers are sold out. And you just hear a...
Yeah,
and then
collective
You see
groan.
people exiting the line.
Oh,
Shout out to the
So-
boys for acquiring my secret lair for me.
Well, we got that secret layer day one. We weren't playing no games.
no.
So we got our goods.
Yeah, we got our playmats.
Got some boosty boxes.
Yeah, we got stickers. We got replacement stickers and stuff.
Yeah, and we were in good shape, and we had plenty of time to go and see the panel that we wanted to see next. But first, something I forgot from day 1 that we mainly did when we redeemed on day 2 was the Fblthp Scavenger.
Oh, yeah.
The Fblthp Scavenger
So
hunt,
there was
dude.
9 QR codes strewn about the the MagicCon
hidden around like Fblthp, you know.
that we got to like go to, and it really is just a marketing gimmick to get you to go to everything. Like go to the merch store, go to the D&D Beyond, learn how to play tables,
go to the panel rooms.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but we
was
cooked.
fun.
We cooked.
We got them.
We got
all
8
9.
of the 9 immediately.
So, do you think it was better or worse than the MKM, like solving the mystery that we did last year?
That's a good question. I think they actually had a similar thing that was an analog to that. There was 2 things. There was Bloomburrow, and there was Aether Racers.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about shortly after this, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
It was fun.
So this was just another thing in addition.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
top
so either way, there are cool non-playing things
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
And other than like just panels, because like last year we did the MKM solving the mystery, and that was sick.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
it
a mini
was.
escape
Like,
room type thing.
I thoroughly enjoyed that, and just even like the set dressing they had and everything was really,
Yeah.
really cool.
It was cool.
It was fun.
But
So we got our 8 Fblthp scans really
It was
quickly.
D&D themed. Fblthp was like all dressed up like the 9 classes
classes.
of D&D.
And we didn't notice until
day
the day 2 that the last one says to go to the actual redemption table to
Yep.
get the scan. I
Yeah,
was like,
so
oh, okay.
the 9th Fblthp was at the end of the journey.
Yeah, and the person there was clearly like, this had happened a couple times
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know. And they were like, yeah.
yeah.
So we got these mystery pin boosters of like D&D pins.
D&D
I got an
pins.
owl bear.
I got
You guys got some
we both got a
beholders.
beholders.
Gold cup
Yeah.
holders.
And that was a nice little redemption. I think last year it was
Yeah.
like a bottle cap or something.
Just a cute little free thing to do.
For Fallout.
For Fallout.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So that was cool. Now, let's talk about Aether Racers.
Yeah, Aether Racers. This was a day
was
2
fun.
thing.
They had these little track cars. There was a little like miniature set
It's
of
stock cars.
of Ishkar,
Yeah.
of Amonkhet, of Maraganda, which was really cool. It wasn't very popular. Like
No.
the line was never long.
Well,
It
it
was
it,
kind of lame.
it might not have been that it wasn't popular. It was just it was really quick.
It was quick.
Because we had that experience, and basically you just do one race. You get to pick from one of the planes. I think Maraganda was easy.
Avishkar.
Avishkar was medium or moderate, and then the one we did, Amonkhet, was hard.
Yeah.
Because the corners were sharper and your car could spin out or whatever if you took it too fast. And all in all, our experience from doing the race to the post race was less than 10 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah. It was
So the racetracks were
some
really
good
cool.
fun.
They had set dressing for all the planes. There was like
Yeah.
a little Aether Flux reservoir on the Avishkar Raceway.
And you know your boys went straight for Amonkhet.
Obviously.
We're
Yeah.
going
Oh, yeah.
hard mode,
Oh, yeah.
bro. Got the dub. Come on now.
I raised them well.
The F1 enjoyer got the dub.
F1
Who would
enjoyer.
have thought?
Got to hold a replica of the Aether Spork.
Yep.
On the
pretty
little
cool.
podium.
Yeah.
At certain times during the day, you could pose with like Winter and Chandra and Spitfire / Seed of Varma.
Sarkon.
Were they like cosplayers?
They were cosplayers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they got the real one.
I didn't know if it was like a
Like a
cardboard
podium.
stand-in
Yeah.
or something.
That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
No, they had some cosplayers walking around.
And it
There
was only certain times because they had to poop and stuff.
Yeah.
True. That makes sense. I don't know if they were hired by the con. Probably. It's
Or if
Probably
they were
they're
just like,
free.
hey, I'm dressed up for this. I'm gonna hang out over here, like just for funsies.
Yeah.
For the D&D cosplayers, it felt that way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there was Karlak and Shadowhearts,
Yeah.
people cosplaying as. I don't know too much of the cosplay culture, unfortunately, so I can't
No.
name drop. However, it was a lot of fun. We did not do Bloomburrow. Still don't know what that was. Looked like it was very similar to them.
Yeah, it looked like it
Yeah.
was like it was like
people-
for like families to come and do like a little activity and
At different stations.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Either way,
amazing set dressing.
it was very cool.
Patchwork banner and like the
Patchwork
wooden
banner.
Yeah, it was
tables
very cool
and all
looking.
that.
but
Okay.
My favorite cosplayer is Teferi.
Teferi's cool. I like that
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
I can just about guarantee you he was there because I feel like he's at everything magic related.
Yeah.
He was-
And Bro just is Teferi.
If he was, I didn't see
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah, me neither.
hopefully he was there.
That's real phased out.
Yeah.
We then saw Commander Party's bingo gameplay.
Love
Yeah.
bingo.
Yeah.
So they had one of the panel rooms dedicated to gameplay on this particular day. And Commander Party from Good Time Society
Yep.
with Becca Scott, Usually Iffy is there. But
Iffy and Waterway.
yes. But he could not make it for this particular panel. So Matt stepped in. There was also Lexi and Serafina. No.
Persephone?
Persephone. Yes, so that was a lot of fun. And you can take a peek at that. So everyone got different bingo cards.
Yeah,
And
you got a pack, you got a booster pack, and you got a bingo sheet.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
a walk-
booster
The
pack
first
for
one
showing
on
up.
here is plays a mana rock, and that is an absolute Al thing to do.
That's a commander thing to do.
It's
Yeah.
the first thing. If someone played a rock, it's Al.
So the conceit of
wasn't playing.
the event was
But it
that
fitting.
they were all playing the game, and there was this bingo card, and we got to shout out value when we got a bingo.
Yeah.
And then we got to affect the game as it was going on.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was put 2+1/+1 counters on something, have someone draw a card, or make a treasure.
Two treasures.
Two treasures. So that was really interesting.
It was very fun.
However, there was some gameplay design that we...
Yeah, there was definitely a bottleneck
Yeah.
within
Because
this plan.
the way it worked is they didn't reset the bingo. So
No.
as time went on, there would be like 10 people getting bingo at the same time. And then as soon as something else would happen, another 15 people.
Yep.
A lot of people were getting bingo. And there was incentive to go up because you got a boosty pack.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
You got to directly affect the board.
Yeah.
They were running a little low on
Wondering,
time.
Al did have bingo on that card.
I did get bingo. I did not go up because I got it pretty late. And Becca
Yeah.
particularly was like talking about time a little bit, and like they were rapid
Scared
firing
you
through.
off.
Yeah, they
And
were.
I was like, I don't want to make their life harder.
It went from, come on, sit down, you got a bingo, affect the board, look, to like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
yeah,
What are you doing?
they assembly lined it at the end.
They asked like everybody's name at first, and like so it was a lot of fun. I think it was a good way to involve the audience.
It was neat, and then you saw it logistically kind of break down, but then kind of work itself out toward the end.
It also naturally lended itself to a longer game.
Yeah.
Because people wanted to like help the person who was losing.
Yeah.
Or like who was about to get swung at. Like, okay, we'll give you, like Becca at one point was getting lethally swung at, and then 15 people went up for bingo or whatever.
And here's 24 treasures, 13
And a bunch of
cards.
counters.
Plus
so
one
that you don't
counters,
die.
so you can block the
Here's a
bingo.
36, 32 that you now have, you know.
But it was cool. It was cool.
It was.
It was interesting. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Then, after that, we walked the floor. Can you imagine?
Oh my god.
Yeah, we saw all the vendors, Artist Alley.
Yes. So there was
dope.
2 floors,
Yes.
which was really cool. And they're huge floors. So on the top, or the second floor, there was, like you said, Artist Alley. There was the like marketplace.
Dedicated to the show floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second floor was dedicated to like
Playing
all
the game.
Play.
Yeah.
So ticketed play, command
Okay,
zone,
I get you.
free play.
Yeah.
Where we like semi took a nap last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually.
I think we literally made the comment like they should just make this the play area.
And
then they
I
did.
think we did.
and they did
Yeah,
that this
they
year.
did.
Yeah.
And it worked superbly.
Agreed.
It was
We
a-
went to
amazing.
Because
play at.
last year we were
There's no tables.
trying
No
to find
tables at all.
space. I think we played a game on the floor because
Multiple times.
there was nowhere available to
Yeah.
play.
We had to like take a seat and be like, okay, if we get up, we're not getting a seat ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
was
as a
just,
four-man pod.
Like
Yeah.
this is done. Like we almost resigned to like, okay, like maybe you play over there and I'll play over here and just
Like
We
go,
did.
go like twos.
But-
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did 2s, yeah.
But this year, much different experience.
there was space.
Yeah.
the whole time.
And finding
the
a
final
pod
frontier.
streamlined.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so when we went downstairs, we basically found a place to sit for the 3 of us, and we're like, all right, well, we need to find one person. Last year, that would have been
Easy.
like pulling a tooth, honestly, to find somebody just walking around and like, hey, you wanna come play with us? No. This year, they had staff members from the stages downstairs that would help you find people. It's like, hey, we're looking
that's
for
neat.
one, and
Yeah,
or if you're
they-
a single person, just follow them and they'll find you a table.
Yeah,
I think I remember that last year.
Oh, did they?
But
Yeah.
there
We
was
didn't
only
get to
like
experience it.
Yeah.
there was only like 1 or 2 staff members.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
whole
this
sea
one
of
there was a
tables.
lot of like they were wearing light blue shirts, and they would have like they had like a stick that had competitive or casual.
Yeah.
And it would say like flip it, it would be like competitive looking for 1 or casual looking for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
no. Last year it was just like some dude dressed like the rest of us schmucks, but they just like had on like an employee badge, and I think you had to go to them to be like, hey, like I'm looking for 1. Can you help me find 1?
Yeah.
And then
So it worked well.
We all
It
3 of
did.
us sat down, and then someone was looking for a 3-pod, and we're like, hey,
That's us.
Yep.
that's us.
We're literally
We're
right
a
behind
three-pod.
us.
Yeah,
we were
literally
like
right
cracking
behind.
booster packs.
Yeah.
And then this guy like sat down, and his name was Hayden. I won't dox him, right? But he was a nice guy. He was a very nice
was.
gent. He wasn't from around here, but he was very friendly. He was a proxy player, which I loved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He had an Adrix and Nev deck, and I told him this. He will forever be remembrant of me because he's the copy guy. He just made a
Yeah,
bunch of
he
copies
made
of Adrix
copies.
and Nev, and then he played
Which is
another deck.
hilarious because it's a proxy deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he played another deck after that, which was also copy.
This was a Zinnia, which
Yeah,
made
the
Offspring
Zinnia
copies.
The Zinnia
and-
Precon.
Classic.
So I had him sign one of my copy tokens that I had, and that's just the kind of like silly fun that playing.
Hey
at
Hayden,
Magic
if you're
is-
watching this, hopefully someday soon Al plays a deck with the copy token and you
Yeah.
appear.
Yeah, Hayden's the goat, honestly.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
He played a lot of games. It sounded like
We had the
and
bracket conversation.
We did. Yeah.
talked about brackets.
And they
It went about as cleanly as you can
Yeah.
you can expect. It was like
It
hey,
worked.
It worked. We were like, what bracket were you going for? He's like, medium, like 3
2, 3, yeah. That's
Yeah.
where we
Yeah,
landed.
we kind of like laughed it off at first.
I
Yeah,
rank
but-
my brackets
yeah.
in Taco Bell sauces.
Yeah, it was kind of like it's like we were kind of like it's like everything's a 3, but then we were like when we got down to it, we're like this deck is like I'm playing like Cyclonic Rift and like Game Changer. Like Game Changers came up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like Game Changers was more kind of the main discussion of power level.
Yeah, well, we talked about multiple things. We didn't talk about like land destruction or anything, but we talked about game changers. We talked about infinite combos and like if we're running them / what turn they would be on, and that was the bulk of the conversation. I'd say.
Yeah, I actually think it went pretty well. Like if you look at the flow chart of our conversation, we had our establishment, which ruled out, brackets 4, 5, and 1. And then we're like, okay, between 2 and 3, like where are we at? I think we landed near 3.
Yeah, Hayden didn't really feel like playing against like Cyclonic Rift or
Yeah,
anything like that.
since we were at a 3, we're like, all right, well, here are the game changers that are present in our decks, and like this is what the deck is trying to do. I think it worked flawlessly.
I also said, I'm not running any tutors, which was also part
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
conversation.
Which I think that's interesting because last year Ryan and I played with a couple randos and had no discussion at all.
Yeah,
It
we
was
sat
just-
down like
And I just
It was just like, hey, this is the commander I'm playing.
yeah, I went
Yeah.
Yawgmoth combo, Bolus's Citadel, and then
And I
got
think
there.
we had like one of the guys was like, hey, is it cool if I play Commodore Guff? Was kind of the most discussion around it. It's just like, hey, this is what I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
is
don't
it cool
be
if
mad-
I play
don't be
this
mad at me,
commander?
yeah.
And it's like, well, like I don't necessarily know what your deck is with that commander,
Right.
but like there's only so much judgment you can get out of a
I think
commander.
definitely an improvement on pregame expectation.
I agree.
Which is interesting because brackets inherently provides less context to a deck because the groups are bigger, right? On a power scale from 1 to 10, you can more accurately be like, hey, this is a 6, it's playing with 6s.
yeah.
But kind of, it's maybe just that brackets have a better description. Than power levels
I think
ever
it's
had.
twofold, right? Like it's one, what you said, that there's better description, like everyone has a common, like
Benchmark.
what they're evaluating. And then two, I think sometimes when you add too many tiers, they become to get more muddied. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like even if you defined very specifically 1 through 10, okay, shoot, what am I remembering? Honestly, I feel a little bit sometimes like I'm having a hard time being like, okay, what was a 3 again?
I had
Like-
that exact same feeling
Yeah.
because I had to remember what Game Changers I put in my deck.
Yeah.
Because I brought like Sab-Sunen and flyers, and I was like, okay, I know that Rhystic Study's in 1 and Cyclonic Rift's in both, but I'm not up to 3, so I'm technically a 3, even though I don't have 3 game changers in it. So that was where I was like kind of like remembering my deck list, even though because I don't have my deck list readily available to me on my phone.
Yeah. Something, and we should maybe have a full discussion about game changers at some point.
Agreed.
But just one more point I wanted to think about is I was updating a deck today, and it has Rhystic Study in it. And I was faced with the choice of like, do I want this to be in bracket 3? And if I do, I feel like I am incentivized to add 2 more.
To add more.
Changers. Like, do I add a Psych Rift? Do I add?
So what's really interesting about that is I had the exact opposite thought with my Rogues deck.
Yeah.
Because I realized my Rogues deck is tier 3, but it's almost exclusively because I think it runs Rhystic Study and Mystic Remora.
So if you take those out.
And they aren't necessarily like flavorful to the deck because it's bullshit rogues. Right? Like it's Dimir rogues. The whole point is just that like I'm playing rogues because they're fun and they're a creature type. The deck blows. But it has 2 game changers in it. Because there's a 50% chance it runs Psych Rift, but I don't think it does.
Yeah.
But it has and even if it runs Psych Rift, it has 3 game changers that don't inherently affect the game plan of the deck at all.
Yeah.
And I could very easily just swap them out for another
Or you could
crab
use
bag of rogues.
Yeah. There's also the art of it where like in my case I could be like, oh, I'm only running one game changer. I feel like this deck is more of a like a 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we could use that as well. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it in practice. I'm liking it in theory. And I'm excited to see what they do.
I think any system that gets people thinking about what their deck wants to do instead of just what cards are in it is great.
It's good.
Inadvertent bracket propaganda.
Yeah.
So after we had that little
Powwow.
gameplay with Hayden, we moved on to...
We went to go see a panel. We went to see
Love 'em.
Commander at Home, Olivia Gobert-Hicks, and Brian Kibler.
Love it. Watch them
plus
all the
some
time.
guests that I don't know who was there because we didn't get in.
We got hit with the club experience where it's like, all right, let me count as soon as we get up to the door. Hit limit. Sorry, guys.
Yep. It was us.
We were. I think there was 2 people ahead of us.
There was a group of 3. There was a
that
group
was
of
so
3.
close.
There was a group of 3 in front of us, and they're like, sorry, guys. Capacity.
Yeah. I like it was kind of that moment where I was like, we were getting there maybe 15 minutes early. We were cutting it a little closer than we should, and we saw a line, the longest line for any panel room I've ever seen. Like before, the main stage. So we missed that. But you know what? Props to the people running the place.
Yep.
Because they all gave us packs.
Yeah, they gave us a constellation pack. Like, thank you for showing up. Sorry you can't see it here. Take a pack, which I think is pretty cool.
Genuinely
classy.
nice guy.
Yeah.
I think it was Lady Danger and Dr. Lupo.
That is right. Yes.
I was like, I definitely saw a post for it and like leading up to it, and I was like, oh, that'd be really sick to see.
Well, if you want to see it, you're going to have to watch it just like us because we didn't get to.
We did not get to see it live.
Instead, what do? I don't quite remember, actually.
I know timeline's a little blurry, but that doesn't matter because someone picked up some good picks.
Yes,
sure
they ran
did.
the marketplace.
Yes,
So
I
they
did.
had Ultra Pro Boost. They had the classics like Ultimate Guard. And
They had Ultimate Guard. They
Dragon
had like
Shield.
Star City
a
Games.
bunch of the usual ones. They had like
Yeah.
a bunch of the big buy sell trade people. They had Star City Games was there. Coastal was there.
Pastimes,
And,
like we mentioned.
Pastimes was
Downstairs.
down in the depths where they belong.
What'd you pick up, Ryan?
Yes, my goal was to pick up an original dual land, and I picked up a revised, heavily played Badlands.
Let's go, brother. I got mine last year. Badlands
In
Rose.
addition to?
Yeah, in addition to a heavy played revised Sarah Angel.
Pretty toasted.
An absolutely roasted,
love it.
Yeah,
toasted
brother.
Sarah Angel that I'm going to use as a token whenever I play my Flash.
Which was one of the goals you expressed in going to MagicCon.
Yes.
Was
yes.
to find one.
And I got a playmat that matches the Sarah Angel.
In the Artist Alley.
That's sick.
In the Artist Alley.
Because in the Artist Alley, if you've never gone to a MagicCon, is where the artists like sign things, and they also get to sell their exclusive playmats,
Yes.
exclusive tokens.
Yeah.
Because Ultra Pro doesn't have the rights to all of the art, so Magic artists who hold the rights to their art put it on playmats and sell it for profit, for charity, for
Yeah.
raffles
Yeah.
and stuff like
Or
that.
just
Yeah.
prints.
We got some really cool stuff last year
Yeah.
That was a highlight last year for sure.
Yeah, and definitely the opportunity to get artists to sign your cards, whatever it may be. Like I have Full Art Talrand signed by Tyler Walpole, Jake has Ganex signed by Aaron Miller.
Yep.
Like it's just sick, and then to play with a signed card feels just a little extra special.
I got a signed playmat with Sarah
extra
Angel.
bling.
So
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Cool. And then we got to see Dungeons and Dragons live with the Baldur's Gate cast.
Oh,
yeah,
what
the
a
voice
hoot.
actors for Will, voice actress for
Lae'zel?
and voice actress for Karlach, and the voice actor for Astarion.
Yep. So we got the DM was Abria Iyengar. I don't really know where she's like from, like what content platform.
She is
to
a
say
treat.
she's
She's
from.
a
She's
treat,
from
though.
like everywhere at this point, but
She's great.
yeah, oh my god, what a treat to see not only one of the better professional DMs, maybe one of the best professional DMs out there right now, work with trained voice actors for characters that we know.
Yeah, and they're
and
all
love.
they're all in character.
Yeah, they're all
they-
completely in character.
In character.
Yeah,
They're in voice.
They're in voice.
Did they
Astarion's in character.
play the
Astarion and
characters
Karlach.
that they were voicing?
Yes, so the
Yes.
voice actress for Lae'zel is playing Lae'zel.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
Playing a version
A
of
version
Lae'zel.
of Lae'zel.
Correct.
They definitely had their fun. They were
Yeah.
cheeky with it.
Yeah.
Lae'zel wasn't like a mindless robot automaton, you know.
Yeah, there was like a very strong sense that Neil and Samantha, Astarion and Karlach's voice actors, were like kind of a little bit more familiar with the game.
Yeah.
Whereas Theo and Dev, Will and Lae'zel's voice actors were a little bit more green to it.
Yeah,
But
it was
boy,
defi-
did they
it was-
bring some
It was
energy.
definitely a great juxtaposition of medium to experience versus little experience.
But
with
they
the
yeah,
system.
they all ate. Like they
Yeah.
all
They
like
sure
were
did.
serving like a great experience. They were playful. It went off the rails immediately, which seemed to be like mostly
That's
intentional.
called Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, honestly.
That's called they played the game.
Yeah, and I honestly, like, I'm not a big live play guy. Like, I tried to get into Critical Role. I've watched a couple seasons of Dimension 20, like, when I was really into D&D. But in terms of, like, in terms of, like, what I do in my spare time, it's usually not that. So I wasn't too excited for this, but there wasn't really anything else going on, 6 to 9, so...
I've never. This is my first introduction from like seeing like a game that isn't like one that I'm playing. So
Yeah, but I freaking loved it. It was
it was great. The
top 3 moments.
The
of time,
energy
honestly.
was hype all the way through. The crowd was great. The crowd was serving their excitement. Astarion was eating it up and serving it right back.
Sure.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
And though they got pretty close to not finishing the adventure, they all wrapped it up just in time to beat the clock.
Beautifully wrapped up in a
Yeah.
nice little
Classic.
bow with a
Sounds like
cliffhanger
a
for
D&D
next time.
session.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think, yeah, for sure, top 3 moment. Might be right behind the preview panel for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a real blast. And I'd love to have it again next year. if
Oh,
that's an option.
100%. Yeah.
All right.
You guys made it out of the parking garage totally fine at the
Yes.
end?
Yes.
Day 2 was fine because we paid in advance.
And
I just stuck it in my
Jake
wallet.
Stapled that
Oh, put
ticket
it
to
in
his
the wallet.
Correct.
He stapled it to his
Smart
forehead.
All right, Sunday.
Sunday.
So
The
our
sad-
warmest day, a toasty 30 degrees outside.
But a cast of melancholy above it. The last day of MagicCon.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's usually the day when it's just like everyone gets their last minute things done, and it's definitely a lower
Last
energy,
minute
but
shopping.
definitely like bitter. It's bittersweet.
It really is.
And you know you boys didn't have to wait in the freaking line for an hour and a
No,
half.
so we were
ain't going
in
to
there.
merch. So we get there at like 9:45.
Yeah, the only day we didn't start our experience with an hour and a half plus wait.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Which was dope. It felt a little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really the first thing that we really did was the Mark Rosewater panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is the 20 most influential card designs.
Interesting, because last
Continuing
year
his-
he did.
The 20 worst, I believe.
I thought
did-
no, it was mechanics.
20 worst was the last MagicCon. The last MagicCon we went to was mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah,
He did
which was
20
really cool.
best mechanics, 20 worst mechanics. Like it's kind
Yeah.
of his thing.
It's just-
He's going down the list.
Mark Rowan 20.
He likes 20.
Professional yapper, that Mark Rosewater.
Like with
There's a reason
a
he's
shine on professional. His PowerPoints are immaculate.
His
slide
PowerPoints
deck-
are, his
Hey,
PowerPoints
yeah,
are
yeah,
great.
That is a grown adult with a tumbler.
He's rocking it though.
And he's making that tumbler look good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, some highlights of the panel was that for me, like number 2 on the list was Plague Rats, and he talked about the first deck because they established that it was they didn't know how to balance it, so you could have as many copies as a card as you want, and the best deck was just
8 Plague Rats and 4 Dark Rats, I think.
yeah,
Something
it was like 16 Plague Rats, 16 Dark Rats, and like 8 Swamps.
Uh-huh.
And something like that, and
Bam, bam, bam.
that introduced Plague Rats. Legitimately introduced playsets, like introduced the
relentless
four ofs.
mechanics? Oh, gotcha.
Introduced that they need to put 4 ofs, and so I was like, wow, Rats did that, you know.
Shout out to the Rats.
Yeah.
Big,
And they
big
still
ups.
can't get a Lord.
Still can't get a
He,
Lord.
Mark Rosewater was accepting questions pre-panel, and Jake asked me to ask that question, and I was like, you know how many times this man probably gets asked, add X Lord for my favorite creature type, please. You know,
Make this card. Make this
make
card.
this card, make this card.
But,
you know,
but it was interesting because he said rats like inspired slivers, and slivers are lords.
Yeah.
Like
that's
every sliver is a lord for slivers,
Yeah.
and rats can't get a
that
single
was
one.
that was number 2. Number 1 was doubling season, putting double and twice in the text box.
Yeah, we actually found out that Mark is a big fan of copy effects. So like Panharmonicon, Doubling Season, that was him.
Yeah, and he
He's
said,
behind a lot of that.
Panharmonicon. Panharmonicon exists because doubling
No
season.
wonder
exists.
there's so many of them in Magic.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like you guys have heard about the one of the lead card designers for Pokemon was recently like doing some convention, and someone asked him, "Oh, why are there only 2 like man-type cards?" I think it was specifically man-type. Oh, there's no way there's only 2. And so they looked it up right there, and he's like, "Oh, there's only 2." And then there's like 17 Gengars, and he's like, "Well, Gengar's my favorite Pokemon, so like I just
Gotta get
keep
that.
making Gengar cards."
Yep.
And Mark Rosewater was like, "Yeah, I make the cards. Yeah, this is my opinion. You know."
Yeah,
I
just
love
like,
copies and double effects. We're finna make copies
he-
and double effects.
he's just like, if you would do X, do it twice as much. That's probably me.
double X. You know.
Yep.
Honestly, most of the time that's printed, I'm excited.
Same. So he's cooking.
He's cooking.
So are you Mark and you're Rosewater? Or?
Yeah, so it's always fun to hear Mark Rosewater just
is,
talk off
yeah.
and on about it. You know, rocking his plaid, rocking his Air Monarchs, just going and yapping.
He's a very, I mean, obviously, 30 years in Magic. He's a very knowledgeable
Yeah, he's
dude.
30
and
years
he's fun
is-
to
And he
listen to.
just loves
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah, 30 years. His 30 years is coming up in October. He said. So
I'm a
Big ups for him.
religious drive to work listener.
Yeah.
I've listened to everyone since last year. I just love hearing him talk. And then the next thing that we did was the Speedway Scramble, which was
so fun.
It was.
it was legitimately really fun. It was
Yeah.
a trivia event where
trivia.
everybody could win. So I thought we were going to be like competing as like a racing team.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
same.
I thought it was going to be like groups of 2s or groups of 3s.
like
or
classic
something.
trivia. And we walk into this panel room, and I'll just be honest about it. We go in, there's like 15 people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a quiet room. No one's like laughing or having a good time. And I'm like, do I turn around right now?
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh.
We walk up, the guy is like, "Here, take these lands," and we're like, "Oh."
Yeah, he said, come up to the front. And I'm, like, I don't want to be like in the front.
Yeah.
And he gives us a mountain, a forest, and a island. So the way that the game worked was that it was all true or false. So easy trivia. He read like a factual statement like Mark Rosewater is head designer, and then a related question to those things.
That was true or false.
That was true or false, and if it was true, you held up your forest.
For go.
If it was false, you held up your mountain.
For stop.
Or if you didn't know, you had a one-time pass, which was your island, which
A very blue thing.
was kind of get out of jail free card.
Which sent you to the next round.
Yeah, it's always right.
So that was a lot of fun. And we
was,
all
yeah.
played individually. I got second place on a very technical level.
Yeah. And I was just eating shit.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I made top 8, and then
Heck yeah.
during the question that
Technically
that
the
I
finals.
got knocked out on. Yeah, it was the finals. 7 of us got it wrong.
Yeah.
One person got it right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah. And
Or
then
gal.
we played.
Wasn't
It was a gal. It was a gal.
Shout out to that gal.
We played, I think, 4 rounds total, maybe 5 with the bonus.
I think it was 5 with the bonus.
Yeah, I
maybe.
think
5 with the bonus, yeah. And we got some boosty packs. Well, I got 2 booster packs. You guys got a dice set and
I got a mystery pin, another one of the D&D mystery pins.
Yeah.
Pulled an owlbear.
I got a mirror dimension D20 or polyusual set.
But just free stuff in general,
Free
so
stuff.
can't complain, really.
I think a lot of the con missed out on that. That was a lot of fun.
It was.
Like, because I was learning stuff. I got knocked out on a particular question. Let's see if you know it, Alex.
Oh, boy.
True or false, there is a monocolored elf in every color.
So I know we have green and black. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to lock in soon. You don't got this much time, brother.
I'm just going with false.
That's what I said. There's a monocolored elf in every
There
color.
sure
Yep.
is.
there
Thank you,
is.
D&D
I
and New
could-
Capenna.
I could think of every one but red. And you know what Jake's told me when I sat down? Delina
Delina-
Wildmage.
Yep.
In my
Delina's
dice
elf.
rolling deck. I
Yep.
thought she was a human.
She's a half elf.
D&D gave us a monocolored elf in every color.
Correct.
Yeah.
So quite interesting. It was interesting to kind
Yeah.
of learn that stuff.
Yeah.
And there, your favorite.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
got dinosaurs?
No. Even better.
wait, what
was it?
It was so they asked us
There's
like
nothing better than
they asked us
dinosaurs.
about like magic design, and they talked about what is the font called.
Oh my
They asked
God.
us is
True
so
or false?
true or false is the font on a magic card Baldurin?
For those of you wondering at home, when we started this channel, and I do all our thumbnails, we went through 200 fonts
200
looking for the
fonts.
correct thing.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, returned to making thumbnails, and I just go, I wonder if I can find the magic font and Google it.
And I
You
said,
can.
and I said
It's
it's
free online.
I was like it's Baldurin. So yeah.
Yeah.
Bam! That's our font. If in case you haven't figured it out, a little behind the scenes, extra knowledge.
Yes.
We do use Magic's font because we thought it would be incredibly cute.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
so there is why I
So you
love
would
it.
have made that round.
All of us got
Hell
that
yeah.
question right.
Yeah.
Hell
Correct.
yeah.
Unfortunately, you were knocked out before it, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh
felt
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
was
Because
looking at
both of
Jake.
us were
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
no.
He knew.
Yeah. Oh, man. Because I use Baldurin for our little end of the year report cards,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
That's the font I use as well.
I was like, poor Jake.
That one
I
hit
knew
close.
this.
That one hit close to home.
I didn't use my islands enough. It was on me.
But now we're at hour 3, or no, I'm sorry, we're at 3 p.m. MagicCon closing in a couple hours. We did a final walkthrough.
That's right
Yeah.
about the time I landed at O'Hare.
Oh no, we walked through, but we watched the pro tour.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw semifinals.
Yeah, we
Pro Tour
saw
was cool
the
last year,
back
too.
half of semifinals and the entire final match.
The entirety of the finals.
Yeah, the very last round of the final match was pretty good.
Everything else was domain mirror. So
It was the finals of Pro Tour Aether Drift was a domain mirror, and it was definitely a snooze fest from
Yeah.
terms of like interesting gameplay. There's a lot of interesting lines. It is definitely is an outvalue grindy style matchup
Yeah.
that like it really depends on sideboarding after match 1. And there was professional players on the commentary booth because we were in a panel room watching the live stream, and it was interesting to hear the pros analyze the game between them, just kind of like memeing because it's a very dry match.
yeah.
Linchpin card in both those decks, Up the Beanstalk,
Oh yeah, brother.
and Up the Beanstalk, nicknamed just Beans.
Beans.
Nicknamed just Beans. And if you were in panel room 350 on that very Sunday, and on the left side of the room, and every time there was a Beans plate, and you heard a couple of Midwestern chuckle fucks yell "Beans" every time
That was us.
That was
Up the
them.
Beanstalk was played, Up the Beanstalk was played, and started chanting "Beans, Beans, Beans." That was us.
Yep.
So yeah, we got the pro players started chanting with us, and every time Beans was played, you saw like a. And then you heard beans.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like it was definitely like a master class and like committing to the bit, because at first you were just the guy shouting out stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like they were like commentating the match the whole time.
No,
like,
it was
talking about their,
definitely
like,
just like random stuff. They were talking
Which is
about like
fine,
food
right?
and stuff, which is like you know.
Yeah.
Typical caster things for slow games.
But Ryan's watching the match.
Yeah,
so
Bro's locked in.
Jake and I are locked into the game.
Yeah, we're
and
like
and
analyzing,
the guy that's
we're
sitting in
like-
front of us is definitely like pro player, deep entrenched into standard, and we're like all three of us are talking about lines. And then when Beans comes down, Jake and I are like beans.
So then they get a little bit of
We
the
get
audience.
we get a little louder
Like,
because
oh,
the
people around
people in
us
front of
are
us are
like,
laughing, people behind us are like
They
beans.
start chanting, and then eventually the commentators got in on the.
Yeah.
Got it.
They were like, he's got the advantage. He's got more of the beans. What do you call that?
beans.
Yep.
He's got the beans advantage.
So what's funny about this is I watch a lot of professional League of Legends, avid Cloud9 enjoyer. There historically have been a lot of very boring just league games.
Barn burners.
Yeah.
And they're just, sometimes you don't want to watch them. There's not a lot of kills. It's a farming meta, very late game focused. And shout out to the Europeans, because they started this trend as far as I can recall, where if a game is really slow, they will cheer when a ward is killed. And it's like everybody. Woo!
It'll be a sea of cheering when that jungle camp is taken.
They kill a ward because hey, something died.
Yeah, it's a game action.
And it's, you interacted with the other team, and that is very much what that reminds me of. Is the casters are talking about who knows what, and then you're just like, woo! And even the casters are like, wait, what happened? And they're like, oh, they killed the ward.
They just played beans.
Sick.
What a
that
surprise.
finals was that last game was interesting. Top deck
Yeah.
Atraxa into a swing and advantage into a top deck of Get Lost to destroy that advantage and come back for the win.
Oh yeah.
Definitely a good last game. Matt Nass takes it with 4-color domain.
Yep.
So yeah.
With what I was thinking was the inappropriate split of overlords, but apparently I'm wrong because he won the Pro Tour.
yeah. So that was
How
the
many
Pro Tour
titles you got?
0.
Yeah, against his opponent
too.
who was a first-time Pro Tour.
The same number as that guy.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, that was the Pro Tour, and then after that, it was about like what, half an hour until it was wrap up time.
And it was about time to go. So we did one final walk of the show floor.
Picked up our packs.
Picked up some boosties.
I
Picked up some
tried
boosties.
desperately to find a foil Sab-Sunen. Couldn't find it all weekend. Tried desperately in the 11th hour to pick up as many Aether Drift packs as I could with what cash I had left in my wallet, and did not find it. But I mean, I'll find it eventually.
We got some good rips. I opened from a free pack that I won from the trivia event. I opened an Aether Spark.
Yeah.
Which is a nice $30 hit. At the time of recording, which was pretty fun. Something that I noticed was I got good goose egg of packs last year. This time, I opened a lot of free packs. I think I probably had like 7 packs from the different panels we went to.
Yeah.
And I think something that I noticed last year, having previously worked in the convention industry, is that all of the conventions I had been to that weren't Magic related, you just kind of end up with a bunch of free stuff.
Yeah.
And going to MagicCon last year, I think I ended up with like a free pin from the Clue.
The Markov Manor.
Like a couple free stickers here and there. And that was really it.
Yeah. I was pretty empty-handed too, especially since I didn't get the premium last year.
Yeah.
I just kind of had my like 2 promo cards, and that was it.
Yeah, and like last year, got a lot of merch. Ryan and I got the premium, so like we got playmats and stuff.
Yeah, we got
that.
the counter spells.
I got
stuff.
my Badlands.
Yeah.
And like I bought quite a few singles, but that was really that.
Speaking of which, the promo card for spending $150 in the merch store was Dogwater.
It
was an
was.
island.
Aggressively mid.
It was like an island with a lotus on it.
It's a nice art though, John Avon.
It was a John
good art.
Avon full art island.
But compared to the Preordain or whatever, Ponder.
Chicago Ponder.
Yeah, Chicago.
But was it
blunder.
for some reason mentally in my head? I may be completely wrong on this. It's an island with the Chicago skyline.
Is it? Am I
For some reason, I think like someone said that, and I don't. did not fact check it.
Can we fact check that
I
right
think
now?
I
please?
just like saw something that said like that's kind of what was special about it.
Good luck finding that art, sifting through all the island arts.
Yeah, seriously.
It would be the most recent.
No, it's a secret layer one.
Yeah.
He found it.
Oh, he did? Oh, wow, okay.
Oh my god.
But the art,
It's an image in an image in an image.
the island art is very good. There was a couple chase.
Those are definitely just stone
Yeah,
pillars.
I don't think that's the Chicago skyline.
They gave
Unless
you-
it's talking about that, like way in the background.
They gave you the island face down, like backwards. So
Yeah.
because they were
Get a
giving out,
foil.
you have a chance to get a foil island. So yeah,
Either way, it's great art. In terms of playables, it's kind of sad.
Something we didn't talk about is that the merch store was also kind of scummy with the commander deck pricing.
They were.
That
Yeah.
was
I
also
did
dog
see
water.
that online. Like
Yeah.
so I had asked for merch because I would not be attending like this shirt. And so I looked I think last year they did it too. They posted just like a PDF of what was
yeah.
available
There
in
was
the
a
store.
there was a PDF
And
of
I
everything.
noticed, I was like, they really have the two commander decks at different prices.
The Teamer Energy Precon was $30, and the Esper Zombie Commander deck was selling for $60,
So they scalped it a little bit.
which is insane. But this is the official merch
Yep.
booth.
It felt a little weird.
But that was the only
Yeah.
thing that felt.
It was
weird,
the only
you
thing,
know?
yeah.
There was no other scummy practices I felt.
And
It's
the only other
gorgeous.
thing that's worth talking about a little bit, I think, is the D&D tie-in.
Oh,
Probably the
yeah.
biggest part.
The
We should have talked
loosest
about this in the
tie-in,
beginning.
almost like no knots.
Yeah, this was
Draped
MagicCon Chicago featuring
D-
Dungeons and Dragons.
Correct.
So the representation, I'll be honest, when we were going, seemed very bare bones. There was a
Yes.
panel. You could play D&D at the event. We didn't do that.
There was there was like a starter league for like
could learn how to
45-minute
play.
one shots.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like there were a lot of D&D personalities there.
Yes, Allie Beardsley was there. There was also, multiple other people.
And
that
the Baldur's Gate crew was there for the D&D
Yeah.
Live the next day. But I don't know how much of that is, WotC planning their convention and inviting those people, or those people just saying, hey, I want to be there.
Yeah, because that very well, Allie Beardsley could have been something that, like, Game Nights reached out.
Correct.
Specifically,
Yeah.
the Command Zone reached out and was like,
I think it was intentional.
hey, can I get you...
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were also playing a Forgotten Realms commander.
The official store was like a little tucked away store
Yeah.
too.
They
There was
didn't
an
have
official
anything.
D&D store?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was.
interesting.
Where you could buy rule books and minis and
Dice.
class-specific dice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool, but it was downstairs. Like, it wasn't on the main show floor.
Yeah.
Like downstairs by Gameplay?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Close to, yeah.
It was actually just outside the theater, so it wasn't in the game hall. It was not on the show floor, not by pastimes. It was kind of in its own corner, which I thought was very strange.
It's very small.
Yeah.
It was
Sounds
it
last
was
minute.
like a half integration.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm wondering if it's like going to be something that they regularly do. If they do have a separate D&D convention outside
Yeah, if
of
this
Gen
was just a
Con.
dry run for a D&D
Part of it's
specific
also
convention.
going to be because they were trying to tie in, like, Aether Drift and stuff, too. You only have so much
Yeah.
space before those kind of overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather they go whole hog, get the NASCAR people involved.
Formula
Jeff
One.
Gordon at the next MagicCon, baby.
Yeah.
Get the Hot Wheels booth set up.
Kyle Busch. Yeah.
But
Tonka truck racing.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a lot of fun. As someone who enjoyed D&D, I thought it was fun and interesting.
it was a lot of fun.
Even if it
D&D
was like
as D&D players, like to see like the handbooks there and to see like spaces where you can play and see people there specifically for D&D.
yeah,
yeah.
It was nice.
it was.
The outside of that experience, the only person we talked to was James. That he seemed like, why is this?
Oh yeah, confused with the D&D
Yeah.
theme.
Confused at best. Yeah.
And one of the merchants that I talked to when I sold my cards was like, so is D&D like big in the Magic community? I was like, sorta. I think it's bigger with the commander group, but
There's overlap. Yeah.
yeah, they also seemed a little confused as to why it was there.
I
So
almost think Magic's bigger in the D&D community than
I would
D&D
agree with
is in
that.
the Magic
Yeah.
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
but it seemed a little last minute to me.
Because they're very different time commitments.
It felt a little slap.
Agreed.
It felt a little slapdash, but it was still enjoyable.
It was.
Yeah. D&D is notably a much larger community too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it could have been just a marketing thing, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, we're renting double the space, probably double the price. Like, we got to get as many bodies.
And we're going to
in
be
here as
there
possible.
anyway for the dragons. Might as well bring a little store with us, you know?
Yeah.
But anything else to talk about?
Lighting round, favorite part?
Favorite part of the convention? Go ahead, Ryan.
Preview panel. By a mile, the energy in that room was amazing. Seeing the cards, seeing the cards there, and then 20 minutes later seeing them on MTG Goldfish's Twitter feed was always something I enjoy. For any sort of convention, any sort of MagicCon.
I think it's preview panel for me as well. I'm really stoked for Tarkir in particular, so getting to see previews for that was the highlight of Friday for sure, but probably the entire con. D&D is a close second, I think. The D&D live was great, but nothing really beats previews.
Oh, I had 2 minor tied, my friend's wedding and seeing my sister. Wonderful times. Very much enjoyed my whole weekend. Played exactly no Magic or D&D. But had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
You know what the highlight of my con was? Launching this channel, Snap
Snap
on
Keys, the
day
launch
one,
party.
Friday, and we did pop off a little bit because of our Baldur's Gate video. That was kind of at the same time as the
And
Baldur's Gate.
also D&D.
Thank you guys so much if you're watching.
Vaguely.
Yes,
for
thank you.
clicking on us.
Thank you.
We're no longer. It's real now.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real now.
We're still Chuckle Fucks, but now we are Chuckle Fucks permanently on the internet.
Yeah.
Correct.
True that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like us enough, hit that subscribe button. And if you like us a lot, then go ahead and watch some other videos to show the algorithm you like
sure.
us.
Do it.
We love to hear from you. But anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Beans, 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 beans.